So we've established our year-round timeline, and you can actually make this more in-depth. We used basic months up here just for saving time, but oftentimes when we look at our calendar, we've got to take things into consideration. For example, in December, they're going to have an exam week right in here. They're going to be going home for a month and coming back here. There's going to be a holiday Monday here. Spring break is going to lose a week here. There'll be another holiday Monday in here. So when you lay out your actual calendar, we could do this with football if you need help with it, we can take you through it. But when you lay out your actual calendar, instead of saying December, January, February, it's probably going to show a 4 or 5 week training block from December to January. And then a 3 week training block before that Monday half week off. And then a 5 week training block before they go away for a full week on spring break. Then another 3 weeks on, then there's a quick Monday off, 2 more weeks, and then they probably have testing right here before they go home. So knowing that calendar and knowing where to figure out that calendar is important, and that's all comes from the academic calendar at Tufts. As strength coaches, we meet at the beginning of the year and lay out the full academic calendar and then follow those recovery times into that calendar. So we've laid out our calendar. We're just going to use months for the sake of time and ease right now. How do we now take the information from that periodization chart we discussed and apply it to this protocol? Well, again, start at the end. Start with the goal. What is the goal? To win football games. How do we win football games? We need to be really explosive, really powerful down this end of the chart. So power is definitely going to be my focus on this end of the chart. If that's the case, and my focus is on performance this end of the chart, and again, remember during the chart, everything gets more specific. So every decision you make becomes more crucial on this end of the chart. It's much more general at the beginning of the year. This is our chance to decrease injuries. So this is where we might have a stability control phase. That's that introductory phase where we do slow speeds of movement, where we do great ranges of motion, bigger rounded movements, odd movements, single arm, single leg. And this is also a time where we give our athletes a chance to be more leaders or to question their leadership or their ability to lead a group, to mentor a group, to bring a group along with them, and to even compete if they're at that level. So it's an opportunity to look at some of their leadership abilities. How do we morph from strength, stability control all the way to power? Well, again, it really depends on your sport. So clearly the next step after stability control is a hypertrophy phase. How many hypertrophy phases you want to have depends on your athletes. Personally, for a men's team, I generally will say a hypertrophy phase or a get big phase or a mass phase. For certain of my female teams, like swimmers, I call this a general strength phase. For my softball girls, I can call it a mass phase. The softball ladies are awesome. They're totally cool with getting after it. So be careful in your language on those things. But basically our goal here is to sort of reintroduce you to a higher volume of training and put on some body armor. Football is a sport that needs more of that, so we might run 2 straight phases where we're looking at more of a hypertrophy focus. From there we go into our bridge phase. So now we switch it over and we're into what we call our functional strength phase. This is really a phase where the reps are between 4 and 8. You get a little bit of mass. It can still be light enough that you can get a little bit of speed. You get a little bit of loading, so it kind of bridges all the gaps. All right. From there, we make our move to more of a max strength phase. We might run a max strength phase here. We might run another max strength phase here. And then we might run, say, 3 straight power phases. Now, when I step back and look at this, personally, I tend not to do that. I tend not to have 3 phases in a row. This is where I'll mess with the linear periodization a little bit. Generally, I'll do something more like a max strength phase, then I'll sort of do a more power focused phase with some qualities from max strength. Then I'll go back into another max strength phase, but with some qualities from power. Then I might run the final 2 phases as power. Truly, this last block will be a very low volume power focused workout, but during all of this, I'm still gonna have some function of hypertrophy in there. Some way to get some higher volume at the end of the workout to create that body armor, to create that mass that a football player generally needs. We do have to remember though, if I put it on the chart and I say that power is my goal, then the first exercise I do better be a power exercise. And the higher volume exercises, the ones with the most sets, better be power exercises. And the overall volume of power exercises needs to be high in that phase. In my max strength phase, I need to do some slower, heavier things. First, most volume, most focus, most load. It really matters. I can have blended other things in there, but I need to follow that rule. So this is why you lay out your year, you lay out your rules, you lay out your movement patterns, and then you can start to build the program.